Yo, what's up, everybody? We are live here in the WrestleSense YouTube page exclusively now. And thank you for everybody stopping by, popping in. I wanted to give a big shout out to everybody who's here already. And thank you for following us over to this new channel. Wally's in the house. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much. MSW, Miles Stanley Ward's in the house. Oh, Doc's Butt Buddies here. There's one star. There you go. Jesse Jackhammer Nation is in the house, my friend. Good to see you. Awesome. Good to see Colby Sports in the house as well. Good to see you, my friend. Big shout out to you. Riley Wolf. Hello. And Cushion Kelly as well. Today, more than ever, make sure you hit that share button to get the word out that we are on this new channel here. We've used my old channel for a year to ramp this thing up. Now we got it popping. Now we got it rolling. And we're going to move forward with some really fun stuff here into the new year. Clinton Cage is in the house. Thank you to see you, Clinton McCleary, Cage, whatever Clinton you want to be called today. And Brooklyn Joker, good to see you. We will be live with LTD Wrestling after this on my channel, so still stay tuned to that. But let's go ahead and bring the boys on and get to talking about, since we missed last Thursday, it was Thanksgiving. I hope everyone out there had a good Thanksgiving. AEW Full Gear and Survivor Series War Games. We're just going to go over both of those. Simple. Easy peasy this week. What do you say, CJ?
I mean, it is easy peasy. I got some mixed feelings that we'll, I'm sure, get into about Survivor Series. I mean, there was a couple good, there was some bad, and there was some Full Gear for the most part was pretty decent in my opinion, but we'll get to that for sure.
There's a couple points I can't wait to get your opinion on as well. As even though he's wearing the wrong jersey, there's Doc. Welcome in.
Wrong jersey. Wrong jersey. No, sir.
Sense, I guess.
No, sir. This is going to be 1-6 against my wife this weekend. That's right. My Atlanta Falcons will be victorious against the evil Pittsburgh Steelers.
I hope they both lose.
A tie. We could do a tie. Hey, I was at a tie in Pittsburgh.
I mean, Marcus Mariota and Kenny Pickett throwing the ball. Yeah, we both lose.
We remember that. Do you remember that, Doc? Michael Vick tied us in Pittsburgh.
Yes, I remember picking up the phone and dialing it. It was a friend of mine who made fun of me the whole game. As soon as he tied it, I picked up the phone. I've never belted a louder "fuck you" in my life.
Yeah, I was on the 50-yard line up at the top of my dad, and I was like, damn.
Monstar, much love, kid.
Anything but a tie, man. Speaking of not winning and not losing, Ray is in the building. What's up, DH?
Oi, punks.
Oh, we got a packed house at Kunst this week.
I wasn't even going to be on today. We got off a cruise ship this morning at 7 a.m. in Charleston, South Carolina. Thanks to Carnival Cruises for having the world's shittiest internet, the world's shittiest cable service that has 3 fucking channels. I have watched no goddamn wrestling. I watched a little bit of Survivor Series before I fell asleep because that was the day we drove to Charleston. So I don't have an opinion other than Io Sky needs to go back to developmental. She's sloppy as shit.
Wow.
It was so bad
about Dakota.
Wow.
I think Rana needs to go to development.
Ronda's fucking terrible. Let's not even get that started. Unless she works with somebody good, she can't work.
Yeah.
AEW Full Gear, I know you guys are going to go over. The wrong person turned heel. William Regal should have thrown the nuts to Moxley. Moxley should have punched MJF in the face. He should have turned full baby face. He'd have been the biggest baby face in wrestling. That's my only fucking hot take.
So you didn't see what happened last night, Ray?
I have not. I have not watched anything, which is why I am not going to spoil this and talk like I know what the fuck's going on.
Watch it.
Doc, the Falcons fucking suck.
Oh, fuck
Almost
you.
as bad as my Steelers fucking suck. Tag out to my tag team partner and Commandant. My boy Tony Kincaid is going to take the spot today.
Oh, Christ.
And give my approved opinion on professional wrestling this week. I will see you punts next week when I am back versed well and schooled to have an opinion. Until then, fuck you, Tony. You're cool. I'm out.
Oh man,
I fucking love it.
So that's what we get. All right.
I fucking love it.
You know, I didn't like DH when I first met him, but now I'm getting to warm up to him a little bit.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
So I have to christen the new. It's not really a new channel. We've been broadcasting on both.
And happy 1 year anniversary, by the way, bitches.
Yeah, to us, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, come
I'm
on.
on the 1 year anniversary show.
Yeah. Wow. DH gave up his spot for.
You are.
Well, he's
What
here
a
in spirit.
human
He's here.
being.
Hey, he's here in spirit, guys.
I'm at a black and white gala. So no, I am not watching.
Well,
You all can watch me take the bridge if I have to keep seeing that clip every time.
Dude, it's funny. Come on. Yeah.
It is funny.
Tonight we're doing something CJ loves to do. We're ramming everything into one segment. So let's make some sense of what happened in the last two Supercards, Full Gear and Survivor Series War Games. Stay tuned from the start. All right, so this will be a little different because we're just going to mush in the pay-per-view and what happened after and since then. So let's go back in time to Full Gear last week. We missed our Thanksgiving. Hope everybody had a good. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? I guess I should at least ask that. I don't really give a fuck what kind of Thanksgiving you had.
Wow.
I
was going to do the rock.
It was a hell of a weekend. It was a hell of a Thanksgiving Eve. Let me just say that.
In 0 hour, these matches were not announced, so we did our picks and everything. So it doesn't really matter. But Akiyama and Kingston. I mean, every time Kingston gets in a ring, seems like he's beating the shit out of somebody or getting the shit beat out of him. Do you guys have any thoughts on this one, Doc? We'll start with you.
I loved it because it was Eddie Kingston getting one of his fighting one of his idols, his childhood dreams coming live. You know, he was kind of crying. You know, I mean. I love the passion that Eddie Kingston has for this business. I love the fact that Eddie it was such a brutal match. And at the end, you know, it was just total respect factor. You know, I loved it. I loved how they did it.
My God, the Doc Simps are out everywhere tonight.
Yeah, they are, man. And you know what? That's fine. That's fine. Jason, much love, kid. And I'll say this, you know, MSW, everybody support me. Finally getting some support from somewhere when it comes to being this.
I was trying to support you Wednesday to make sure your turkey got stuffed for Thanksgiving.
Oh, don't start. Fuck.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, Doc, but he's from Atlanta. He's gonna like what you're
damn right.
You're playing into the fans' hands.
Awesome.
I mean, Tony, does he do this all the time in commentary?
All the time.
I've never mentioned the Atlanta Falcons.
He's just looking to get over one way or another with the fans and stuff.
You really want to talk? You really want to talk down there, dear Diva?
It's
seriously
all about, like so. I remember. I won't go into big detail, but I remember he got put into a city. He made a friendly little bet with an Eagles fan, Hardcore Hooven, and he talked all about that during the match. Hooven, phenomenal tag team match, but it was all about the Eagles being the Falcons and how
you're full of shit. What's up with that? We took a picture and it was 2 seconds. That was about it.
Oh Jesus!
Damn.
To get back on topic,
yes, please.
I don't want to make this the Doc show because Lord knows I'll have to deal with that all month.
Oh,
what
can I speak, Doc?
Whipping boy.
Eddie Kingston is slowly, but not even slowly. Eddie Kingston is that Rock in AEW. I know it's just pre-show. He's just doing 0 hour, but he's wrestling these people that he wants to wrestle in a time frame that he wants to do it, and it's still keeping him in the minds of everyone. So he's a great, like, okay, we have a program that we have to do, but we're not quite ready to do that yet. So let's put Eddie in this program, have him be a transitional gap for a storyline, and he fits face or heel however he wants to do it, because he's just Eddie Kingston, face or heel. Who gives a shit? It's Eddie Kingston. So, and he's getting to wrestle people he wants to wrestle. He seems like he's having the time of his life. I'm glad for him.
I like
a good match. It was a good, hard-hitting match.
I mean, are you a fan of like the brutal, the bloody, and all that stuff, Tony? Or let's dig into your mind a little bit.
Within reason.
Okay.
There are certain wrestlers that it works for them. There are certain wrestlers who are more athletic and should not be going for the brutal unless it's like a blood feud. Eddie is one of those guys where you look at him and he's like, well, I'm not going to out jump you. I'm not going to out agile you. I'm not going to outspeed you. So I'm just going to beat the fuck out of you. Can I say fucking on the show?
Fucking right.
Yeah, you can say
okay.
Fuck.
He's going to beat the fuck out of you. And win or lose, he's going to take his pound of flesh. And that's Eddie's entire game. Since I saw him in Chikara, since I saw him all those years ago sitting row 6, like in Rostraver. That's what Eddie's been about. So.
Yeah, see, I wanted to pick your brain because I've picked these knuckleheads' brains for a year. You're a fresh cranium here that I can crack. Me, I like a little bit of all of it. I like the flippy shit. I like the blood, but I like a mix of it all in my show. I want to be entertained from top to bottom, and that's kind of what I think AEW to me is starting to do again. What about you, CJ? What'd you feel about the brutality of this opening match?
Honestly, I don't know what I had something else going on, so I didn't really get to see this. But what I do like is how the raw emotion comes out of Eddie Kingston, and how that like pretty much anybody in the entire crowd can relate to Eddie Kingston and be like, you know what, that kind of sounds like me at some point in my life or present day. So I feel like Eddie is, if not the best, but one of the best in getting true raw emotion from the crowd. So kudos to him, man.
Well, and the way I look at it too is you see these guys, these bigger than life personas, and the real badasses, to see them have an emotional side. It is, like you said, it is kind of touching. It reaches out to anyone out here can relate.
And this isn't a knock on Eddie at all per se, but Eddie is like your normal, common, everyday guy. He's not your typical pro wrestler, and I think that helps with people being able to relate to him. Like, hey, that could be me, you know.
People love him for that, you know.
He's my stud buddy. I'm going to call when someone wants a fight. I'm like, I'm calling Eddie first if I'm getting to a fight.
I think anybody in their right mind would call Eddie Kingston to a fight first out of that whole fucking roster.
And he's like that guy that like he's probably never going to win the AEW championship.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to. He's your boy. He's the guy that you're gonna go. Like, oh, Eddie's on the fucking card. Let's fucking go. Like, you know,
he could be the constant underdog, and you're still gonna care. Probably more about his stuff than a lot of the others.
Yeah, he lose a little weight too, didn't he? He's trimmed.
Yeah, he looks great. He's looking good. He's looking good. I'll tell you one thing. A friend of mine by the name of Chris Taylor actually fought him in a main event for a championship, and he said that, you know, just working with him was just an experience in itself. He said this is before Eddie got real big and everything, but he just said he was a real humble, great guy to work with, and just never really fought you on anything. You know what I mean? He just went with the flow, which is kind of cool.
To add on that, let's like kind of put a little bit of respect on that name, like Chris Taylor, who is from RWA.
That's my fucking guy, man.
He's been doing it for a while. So to have, you know, respect of your peers as a wrestler, I know is worth its weight in gold. So, you know, if these guys want to come in from Japan, oh yeah, I want to wrestle Eddie. That's cool. That's 100% more valuable than anything. Second to the fans. You know, the fans are number one. Your peers are number two. Who gives a shit what the booker thinks? If the fans and the wrestlers are fans of you, then you're golden.
Yeah, amen. And yes, on the mic afterwards, Eddie cut an emotional promo, and it does strike home to a lot of us. So
I love the fact that he was counting down with like he was trying to time how long he had until he had to give up at Mike. He's like, all right, we're going up. Fuck it here. He like let it go. I loved it. Loved it.
And the 0 hours on YouTube before the pay-per-view, so anybody could have watched these first couple matches, but we didn't know they were going to happen until they got announced that Friday. But then we had the Factory versus basically the Best Friends and Rocky Romero. I didn't get to see all of this one, so I can't really judge it completely. I'm pretty sure the Best Friends got over though. But any thoughts on this one, Tony? Anyone have anything to add? Tony, you first.
It was. Go ahead, Doc. Doc seems to have an opinion, so go hard.
Well, that's what we're here to do, is have opinions, so that's okay.
Jesus
yeah, we'll let
Christ.
Doc go first.
I miss DH.
Anyways,
I will say this. I love the fact that they brought in a more darker, evil Danhausen. They had him come out when he was going to take out some teeth. And yeah, I liked it. I dug it. So that was about it. It was a good match. Cole Carter got what he deserved to. He got to be in a pay-per-view. So
that's Danhausen's entire thing, is that he has that dark side where he gets a little evil and throws away the very nice and eats very evil. It's good to see that, although not that big of a surprise who it was. Seeing Cole on AEW pay-per-view, even though it was a pre-show, I mean, that's great step for the guy. Hometown boy, you want to see that from those guys. Otherwise, it was a match. It was a good match, but it was a match. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was fine.
It's a way to get a bunch of people in on the pay-per-view one way or another.
It's a New Japan special. It's the opening 5-man tag team match that gets everyone a payday. So cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it Cole Carter versus Darby next week, or is it a tag match with?
It's Cole Carter versus Darby on Friday.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
Can't wait for him. It's a big opportunity for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's, he was the fake Sting and stuff, so that ties into that angle. I still think we might see another fake Sting and be somebody else. Who knows? This match led to. Go ahead.
Hold up.
Finish.
Until Sting comes out in his Sting mask and reveals himself to be Sting, I'm not.
You always think it's a fake one.
Right. It's always going to be a fake Sting until the fake Sting reveals himself to be real Sting. Then
I want Wolfpack Sting. I want Wolfpack Sting.
Everyone wants Wolfpack Sting. Bring back Wolfpack Sting.
I want Joker Sting from Impact.
Fuck you, Doc.
I like Joker Penta. I like Joker Penta.
So Starks got the double dose, Cage and then Page, and taking out Ethan. So now Starks is in line for a world title shot with who we'll talk about later on.
Winter is coming.
It's coming all over your face.
Just like Veer.
From the side, it's coming on your nose, up your nose. All right, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Luchasaurus inside a steel cage, and I kind of like that they don't do the escape the cage. That's every once in a while, if it fits the story, but I like the cage as a means to keep people in, keep people out, and add weapons all over the place. So, CJ, any thoughts on Jack Perry? I like calling him Jack Perry.
Besides the 6-man tag, this was my favorite fucking match of the night. It was fucking phenomenal. I don't have one bad thing to say about this, and I'm glad that Jack finally got his comeuppance with Luchasaurus. And don't be surprised if you don't see him in the world title picture sooner than later.
There you go, Doc.
I enjoyed the comeback story. You know what I mean? Just the simple fact that that was your best friend. He spit in your face. He ruined from you everything from costing you probably one of the biggest losses ever on a pay-per-view in record time for Christian. Just the fact that just the bounce back from it was awesome. It was just great storytelling, and just the match itself was phenomenal.
Thank you. Before we get Tony's, that's what I want to touch on. There's a lot of people out there that I see that ridicule AEW for not having enough stories, and I tend to disagree. It's my opinion. I think you just have to watch it all.
Yes.
You got to watch some BTE. You got to watch a little watch for highlights of Darker Elevation. Every once in a while they do stuff. Rampage is slowly becoming a must watch. They're tying it in to championships and more storylines now where I watch a guy who does watch alongs, but he only does Dynamite. So he doesn't realize the last couple of Rampages have had meaning. I think this was a great story for the long haul, with the turn on Lucha and with Christian's part and the personal stuff that they got into on the mic and everything. And I think this is a good culmination to that feud. We'll see where it goes from here. Tony?
So I agree with you. except for BT. I don't think BT should be a part of the storyline. I think that's asking
no enhancement to story though. You can find some stuff, but I get where you're coming from.
Sure, but if you're gonna do it on television that is readily available and that you're not looking for smarks to watch only. It should be reachable to everyone. That all being said, going back to this match, I actually agree with CJ. This was my favorite match. This was my favorite match of the night because it was laden with story. It was as violent as it needed to be for a blood feud. And I harp on this all the goddamn time. If you're having a blood feud in a steel cage, you don't start the match with a fucking lock off and you fucking start doing chain wrestling bullshit. These two start beating the piss out of each other from jump. And I was so impressed with how commentary kind of told the whole story, let them tell the whole story, and then sort of did this mesh thing, this dance. And it was a pivot. It escalated, de-escalated, and then jumped up at the end. And, giving Jack Perry that big signature win against Luchasaurus, who I think is woefully has to be considered the biggest miss that WWE's had in a while. You could forgive them for MJF because of how young he is. Luchasaurus was a miss on WWE's part, and he is crushing it. And now it lets Jungle Boy leap off. If he wants to do something else, that's fine. If he wants to wait for Christian, he has a lot of things to do, but he's got that monkey off his back. And now he's out of that Jungle Boy persona. Now he can fight as Jack Perry. Now he has room to grow in his character, which was huge because Jurassic.
And I think he has for sure. Just with
absolutely.
His promo work and storytelling and everything. I agree with you 100%.
And credit to if it was a combination of working with Christian, who's one of the best mic workers in the business, learning to be comfortable telling that story with the stick as opposed to just in the ring and combining all of it. Because we all knew Jack could wrestle. We've seen him.
Right.
Man can go. It's just he wasn't the strongest on the mic. Now he has strength on the mic. Now he's a 5-tool player. Now the sky's the limit for the kid.
I agree. It's exciting to see where he goes from that. Now we know where this match went early in the show, and I'll tell you right now, we talked about it on the show. Well, when it happened, I marked out big time because the word was they dropped the copyright for Wayward Sons. So they weren't going to be named that or anything big. But when the promo came up and it said carry on, I'm like,
I knew
the music. They're going to use the music. Dope. And I legit will tell you this is the first time in a long time I stood up off of my seat to watch this entrance because it just had me pop. I've said this the last 2 weeks that we had shows. I think that song is perfectly written for a wrestling entrance. It has the build. It has the part where it drops off and builds back up again. It's a classic old tune. I could sit here and harp on this thing. I know some people liked it, some people didn't. They didn't get the greatest reaction because they were in Chicago, and rightfully so. We're going to talk about more that it led to, but that song and this entrance was my highlight because I was really hoping they did.
I love it.
Now, BTE, they did mention on BTE, and you can see it everywhere else, that because people started coming out saying if you read the lyrics of the opening, they were digging at CM Punk, and they weren't. This has been their
part of
theme
the song.
Since they wanted to use this since they were kids, coming out in their backyard as their theme song. So I liked it. I think it works really good as an entrance. I'm big on entrance music as a musician and stuff. I think that's a huge part of, and that's one thing that I'm going to talk to you guys more about because when we go to 2PW in 2 weeks, I don't know these people's theme songs, and that's big to me. When I do my commentary on a video game, I want to time it right. I want to say it when they come out in time. I want to say it when the music pops or when it drops. I'm really picky about that. So that's something that
we got you, bro.
I'm going to have to get
You're going to be just fine.
But just the emphasis on entrances to me, that's why, being a ring announcer is so important to me, is because this stuff means a lot to me. The presenting of a wrestler, and we've talked about it before, your in-ring, your mic, how you work in the back, how you work with others, but how you're presented. And I think ring announcing.
I mean, it can technically make or break someone.
Well, look at Karrion Kross when he had that music and that weird gear as an example.
Yeah.
It kind of killed the joy in what he was doing.
I mean, look at Karrion Kross now, like not to go on a side hustle, but the Fall and Pray thing is just so hard to time. It's actually a hindrance to him. Yeah. It's great when it works, but when it's bad and Scarlett's like really offbeat because of whatever reason, like it's a little bit wonky. Now, focusing on Kansas, using Wayward Son.
Yeah.
If you know the history, it's phenomenal. It's great. If you want to look for digs at CM Punk, that is your prerogative. Fans are going to look for any way to.
Well, they're going to do that regardless.
Right. We can't control it. That all being said, the Bucks are, whether you like them or you hate them, they are still the number one tag team in your company by name recognition, by the fact that they're EVPs, all this stuff. You need to bring them back in a way that's just like it's something. You know Chicago's going to give you the Chicago Boo. Lean into it. They leaned into it. They worked that way the entire night.
It was great.
It was a great trios match. And the reason it was such a great trios match is probably why they retconned into the best of 7.
Yeah, and that's where we want to go with this. Is it goes into 7 now? It's now
to me, the right team won.
Yeah, it was Death Triangle the first 2 times and the Elite the last time. Doc, your idea on making this a best of 7?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoy the fact that I love the best of 7s when I've seen them before. Like Chris Benoit and Booker T was a great best of 7. That was something that kept everybody interested and kept everybody just locked on their TV. They wanted to see who was the better wrestler. And when it comes to these 2 teams, my God, when I was in All Out, that arena was insane because, my God, this match right here, I thought it All Out stole the show. I thought it stole the show here at Full Gear. The only thing I will say is I noticed there wasn't as much booing during Full Gear as there was the Dynamite after, because the Dynamite after was the one that was in Chicago. It was at the Wintrust.
Yeah.
However, this one, if you want to get, I want to bring up the CM Punk thing, but the only thing I did notice was there was a lot more fuck CM Punks on the pay-per-view than there was.
Absolutely, there was.
On
TBS.
We will discuss that here in a moment.
Yeah, and New Jersey. New Jersey's a fun crowd. So New Jersey's fun. So
before we get to the best 7, I did want to mention the fact that Kenny Omega has something to do on one of those dates that would have lied out there. He's challenging. He's going back to New Japan, and I love it. I think I think that's where he kind of made his name, if you will, and brought it back over here, and he never got to shine over here. He finally is. So, going back over there, I think is going to be big, and I like the connection still between the company. John Breakdown, good to see you, man. But we're in a best of 7 now. It's 2-1, as I stated. So, CJ, me and you talked a little bit before the broadcast about this. Will it go 7? Should it go 7? And how do you see this playing out?
I mean, with the banger after banger after banger of matches for the first 3, I want it to go 7 because I just want to see how they could keep outdoing themselves, and it hasn't, in my opinion, gotten stale yet. It's been pretty innovative, and they're switching things up. It's not been the same match. More than once, you know what I mean? So
no, I shared
the way they keep recreating shit is amazing.
My concern was that the Hammer is involved in all the matches.
It's a good story, man.
It was in the first 2, but these 2 are two of the greatest 6-man tag teams in the world. And I even told you too, if you're going to pick any 6 men to do 7 matches, these are the 6. And you're
Absolutely.
Right. A lot of people are knocking the Spot Fest. I love it. This is what 6-man matches are for.
These types of matches belong on a show. Does it need to be every single match of the show? No, but there is always a spot for this type of match on a wrestling card.
So it's not really
exciting, it's entertaining. They're so fucking athletic, man.
Here's my take on it, because I saw some people, because when they were doing all the kip-ups together and the super kicks together and all the choreographed stuff, I don't mind it as much. To me, pro wrestling is a competition, but it's also an art form. I have notes here because I wanted to make sure that I really got this point across. It's not easy, I'm sure, to choreograph as much as these 6 dudes do in one of these matches. It's a visual.
And it's still hard for them to do all that stuff and remember all of it.
It's a visual spectacle. It's something that makes the audience like what they look at. It's a performance where both teams, both wrestlers have to work together to entertain the audience. I have no problem With now, if it was all these types of matches, it'd probably get stale. But like we just said before, you got a bludgeon blood match, you have a crazy flippy 6-man match, you have a 1-on-1 match, you have a bunch of different matches. It makes the show more rounded. And that's just, I got so sick of hearing people say, this is just acrobatics and stuff. And it's just, yeah, it's a fucking show, dude. Enjoy it.
So there's a
big
bunch
shout
of.
to Bodie.
Well, yeah.
Everybody
course,
says
buddy.
hi.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, screw you, Tony.
Hey, Tony Kincaid says you need to get me over. God, I miss Uncle Jason should be in this spot. But anyways, go ahead.
So, I think anyone who complains about Spot Fest just doesn't like Spot Fest and they just want to deal with NWA style wrestlers, which isn't a bad thing. It's good wrestling, but it's there's a place for everything in all the versions of wrestling. Like, I'm not a big fan of death matches, but death matches work well in certain situations. So why knock it? When it comes to the best of 7, as long as they're telling a good story, and it seems like they're leading into this thing, I'm hoping for some certain story beats that may or may not happen. And I don't want to mention them just in case they do happen, but there's a bunch of things that could happen. Now, in a best of 7 series, I don't think it should ever not go to 7. But it certainly would be a shock if it went to 6 or 5 or whatever. I think they're going to go best of 7 because it's going to draw every time it's there. They already have all of them laid out. They already have them in good shows.
True.
You could make an argument that at Smash would be where you wanted to finish it, but that's a great time to have a do or die storyline go there. If you want to ramp it up and have someone win by a DQ in one of these windows where, the other team, they have a lead and then they do this, there's a bunch of things you can do there. Let the bookers, I don't have a lot of faith in Tony Khan, but I do have a lot of faith in these 6 workers to outline a good 7-match program.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. The only last thing I wanted to mention, I meant to clip it to play the audio because during the match, the first one, they said Nick Jackson from the side.
I see, yeah.
And there was a football where they said someone got tackled from the side.
That's what I see in the chat.
They did say Nick Jackson from the side during it. So let's talk about it. There was the biting. There was the fake buckshot lariat. There was the GTS. Let me start because my whole opinion has changed, and it's probably going to change again in a couple weeks. I don't know. If I was Tony and I could get both parties to agree and someone to work with him next year, I'm bringing CM Punk back as the biggest fucking heel on the planet. What do you think?
It's a good idea. The thing is, you gotta understand in wrestling. And CJ will back me up on this. Tony,
I might not. I might not, depending on what.
All right, sorry.
What else is going to get them talking big time everywhere?
Hold up. What I'm trying to say is this: when 2 people have always had a problem, and I've noticed this, you go back to the Matt Hardy Edge heat, you go back to different things. They throw 2 guys in the room, and they always say, "We can make money from this. Work it out."
Yeah,
and I feel that Tony Khan should do it. However, it's going to be tough because, no disrespect, CM Punk is the most stubborn son of a bitch this side of the freaking northern and southern hemisphere.
He's
Bottom
been
line,
anti-establishment almost his whole career, though. You know what I mean? Like, it fits right in. Tony, let me ask you.
Money does talk. Money does talk.
Here, Tony. Well, yeah, it's part of his persona. So, Tony, I want your take on this. If you're CM Punk, you've already voiced your concerns at a scrum. You let everyone know. If he's gone from the company truly and he's never coming back, why isn't he saying anything about any of this stuff on social media, on interviews, somewhere? He's never been one to shut his mouth, right? So why do you think he's not talking?
So he shut his mouth for a year in between the WWE stuff until he got terminated and his 90-day went up because of contract things. So it might be a contract thing. Listen, there's only one person on this show right now with a victory over CM Punk. So let's all respect that guy right there.
You want to know what I think? I think that there is a very, very good chance that you could see CM Punk in AEW again. And I think this could be a prime example of how you take something that I do actually feel, you're going to hear me say it, started out as a shoot and you turned it into work and do what's best for business, and everybody fucking makes money.
Yeah. I'm gonna revisit this in a little while when we talk about somebody else. But
I want to bring this up. There was a situation that us three, me, Doc, and CJ all know about, where this could have been something similar in our line of work in our area of wrestling.
Trying to remember.
It involves some people and
a divorce.
And yeah. Anyway,
student divorce.
I got you.
Hammer.
So it could have worked really well, and it didn't for whatever reason. Sometimes emotionally, you just cannot bring yourself to making the money because it's just too personal for you.
And
that's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
If Punk wants to come back, he'll make a shit ton of money. If he doesn't want to come back,
he's going to get hated.
But if he doesn't want to, he'll take the buyout and he'll make a shit ton of money. So it's fine. Do I think it will happen? No. Do I want it to happen? Yes.
I kind of do now. 2 weeks ago, I was like, fuck CM Punk. He can go fucking never wrestle again.
He can go fuck himself either way.
Yeah.
But I
He's going to make my TV more entertaining? Bring him back.
And what's good for wrestling would be for him to come back. What's good for the art of pro wrestling is him coming back.
The one determinant is making both sides agree. And he's going to work with someone next year for, got to make them both agree.
I think if you showed the check and to Punk and Kenny, I would hope the Jew just said, I can't believe I'm saying his name. The Jew just said exactly what it is. It's up to Punk.
Yeah.
TJ, we call him.
Okay.
I think. I'm just thinking hypothetical. Like, what if after this all went down, they're looking at the buzz and they all sit down during that hiatus to go, listen, Bucks, take a while off. Punk, heal up, come back next year. We're going to bring this all back and have a huge party and revisit it in 4 months, 5 months.
You know what I'd like to happen is for all of them to throw you the fucking major curveball of this century and have Punk be aligned with the fucking elite.
Yeah, I mean, they could do if they got the agreement of both sides, they can do crazy. I thought you were going to say something.
Do whatever they want.
Fuck you, Blaze, and you're fucking. All right.
They can do whatever they want.
It's not about, I agree. The one person that I think, and we're probably going to touch on him later, is that there's one person that's not being talked about all this that got screwed over more than the elite did, more than Punk did by the shoot at the scrum, and that's MJF.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
If MJF is okay with it, fine. I don't give a shit. But MJF's moment was ruined from that thing. I don't give a shit what happened in the locker room between Steel and fucking Punk and fucking whatever the dog's name is.
Larry. Fucking scary okay. Larry.
I don't give a shit what happened to any of those people. I give a shit about how unprofessional it was to the returning number one contender, number one heel in your company, who is going to be the one that boosts whatever you choose to be your number one singles face, because eventually they're going to use him as a slingshot to make your number one face that you don't have right now in the company. You don't have a main event face that's not wrapped around the elite and not wrapped around your factions, your stables. You're going to use MJF to slingshot someone, right? Well, you better apologize. Punk better apologize to MJF, or MJF needs to be like, whatever, fuck it. Both
I'm
are
hoping that they were in on this all from the get go. But I
don't think from the get go.
Like as soon as they realized, no, I'm not saying that was a work. That shit happened. Yeah. But after they realized the after effect, they're like, man, look how many fucking people are talking about us.
And
if we can get all these parties we agree in 6 months, we're making some big headlines again next year. So we'll see. I mean, we said it months ago.
Punk's a cunt though, so who knows?
He can be a punk cunt. Reality mix.
I mean, he's never been that way with me. I could just speak personally. I am not disagreeing, but I've never had a really terrible interaction with him.
And I don't know Punk outside of being a fan. I've been a fan of Punk since Ring of Honor. Like I loved Punk. Yeah. This rubbed me the wrong way. I was fully
Me too.
Yeah. So I remember a lot as a fan, and even when the podcast came out, like I was pro Punk because I've been anti how Vince runs things for a long time. That rubbed me the wrong way. this was just a bad taste in my mouth. It can, and like all bad tastes in your mouth, it can be washed out with a very expensive bottle of champagne.
And you know why it rubbed you the wrong way, Tony? Is because, and this is nothing against any wrestling fan at all, but you're like a true wrestling fan. That's why it bothered you.
Well, like we said it before, reality mixed into the
I don't know
fabric.
what that means, but okay.
Reality
it's not a bad, it's a good
okay.
thing.
Okay.
Would you say
go fuck yourself?
Why don't you eat a satchel of Richards? How about that?
Wow.
Why don't you go away?
Oh,
bring him back. Bring him back. Bring him back.
You do realize you probably just screwed up the those recordings now by kicking me out and bringing.
What? What'd you say?
Oh, dude.
Something's wrong with the internet service here.
You're just making more work for yourself, bud. It ain't bothering me one bit.
So what I was trying to say is that reality mixed into the fabric of the show always seems to sell, and I'm down for it. So we're not going to talk about this very much. The only thing I did want to touch on. Only thing I did want to touch on is this, because I really like the I'm Your Mommy T-shirt, a little Eddie Guerrero tribute. I really like this.
I love this.
I love her cosplaying. She said she'll never wrestle in leotards again because I thought that was paint on her legs.
I did too, actually.
But she said she'll never wrestle.
I like her, man. I thought Wednesday she looked fun.
I don't have the picture of the dollar bills, but yeah, she looked great.
Oh my god.
I'd like to do a little sidebar action real quick and ask you three gentlemen a question.
Sure.
All right.
Ronda Rousey, 4 years or whatever. Jade Cargill, a year and a half. Who's better?
Jade.
I think Jade.
Okay.
Because on the mic,
as a professional wrestler,
and how she's progressed instead of
Jade
regressed.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the rumors. The Bow Wow story that she has right now with little fucking Bow Wow.
God damn it.
The rumors I'm hearing is that Bow Wow is going to bring someone in to fight her. Bow Wow has connections with Snoop Dogg. We all know who's related to Snoop Dogg.
I thought about this already, actually.
Will we see Mercedes coming to fight the former Sasha Banks, coming to fight Jade? Tony?
It's wrestling. Never say never.
No.
Never say never. There's also some, because it's Sasha Banks, and yesterday, her bikini, we'll say it was a bikini, was money. It was bank statements.
Yeah, it was.
So there is a lead in there if they want to go that way, or they could be misdirecting. It's wrestling.
Either way, I'm good with
Either
it.
way, you're
yeah, me too. That's where I'm at with it.
Watching, who gives a shit? So it's good TV. It's good.
It is
good TV.
Whether Sasha's coming or not, I'd tease the shit out of it. Yep. Doc, do you think Sasha's coming to AEW?
Not yet.
No, I don't either. I mean, I think she's going to go make a movie or something. I like the teases.
But she has bought some trademarks, though. So
never
say never.
ROH World Championship. I don't think any of us. Oh no, Doc and Ray picked Jericho. CJ and myself picked Bryan Danielson. Sorry, to win. Now, Chris retained, and I think
Dojo baby.
I like it. I'm a huge Chris Jericho fan. He's been one of my all-time favorites.
Goddamn wizard.
The way he looks, the way he still presents himself, the way he's still hilarious. The way he wants to do things I really wish we could all go on a Jericho cruise together. I think WrestleSense on a Jericho cruise would be a fucking blast.
It'd be a good time. It'd be a good time.
Maybe not this year. It's coming up in a couple of months, or maybe next year or something. Yeah. But so CJ, Chris Jericho as your still ROH champion going forward.
I'm good with it. And I knew this was going to be a good match, but I would say it far exceeded my expectations with the way the story was told, with the Blackpool Combat Club and the JAS, where you saw each of those teams going against each other in singles and working together as a team. So it told a big story within the match. So I really enjoyed it, actually.
It was a nice dynamic. They kept away from each other, the partners, for a while, and then ended up colliding at the end a little bit. Doc, your take on this ROH title match?
I really enjoyed the Sammy tease, because just the simple fact is it showed Sammy could, thrive without of the help of like Jericho and that. And I love how they put this together. And I just like the fact that they're keeping Jericho. They're giving Jericho kind of what NWA did with Flair. You know, you wanted to see Flair lose.
Yeah.
But every time, you know, you thought Flair was right there, he was about to lose that belt. It's all about, you know, that. So I liked it.
So apparently it's Jericho and Claudio again, Tony. Does Claudio take it off of him, or is it somebody else?
Not yet.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's Claudio either, but I think having Jericho, who is, I wouldn't say we everyone here knows that Jericho is not the antithesis of pure wrestling, but for the purpose of storyline,
he's an entertainer.
He's a
sports entertainer.
He's the Ocho.
So he looks like he's holding
goddamn wizards.
But Doc, will you shut the fuck up so I can talk?
Yeah,
leave the Ocho alone.
I'm confident. Keep him out until I finish my point, okay? Keep him out. No, keep him until I finish my point. Keep him out until I finish my point, please. Thank you. So, this is important. Jericho is a full-on pro wrestler. He would have fit in ROH in 2005 when he was teasing going to TNA 1,000 times over. But because of how Jericho is selling himself and how the fans are eating it up like they're raccoons in the garbage can. No, put Doc away. Put Doc away. I'm not doing it. So fans are eating it up. And it's great because he's built himself as this character. They put him away. Thank you. He is turning face. And it's perfect because he's beating these ROH stalwarts that the fans are like, oh no, how does Jericho? Because it's a show, you fucking marks. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's good shit. So I love it. Yeah. Keep it going until you have it at its climax, and at the perfect moment, bounce it. And bring him up, boom, completion, and boom goes.
Bring him up.
He needs to keep that ROH title until the first TV show of ROH. That's when
I agree. That's a good point, CJ.
100%. Absolutely.
Damn, I'm agreeing with CJ. Fuck.
I know.
I'm agreeing with Monstar.
All right, CJ. Now's the time where I get to say, "Ha bitches." Because I'm the one who picked Saraya to win.
I think the wrong person won. I
think the wrong person definitely won.
Well,
100%
I'm very happy that Saraya came back. You definitely could tell that she has a lot of ring rust.
I agree.
Am I glad she's able to perform and do what she loves again? Absolutely. And this is no disrespect towards Saraya, but Britt's back had to be fucking hurting after that one, boy.
Yeah, well, she carried her through the whole fucking match.
Let's talk about the scrum afterwards, because Saraya came right out and said, listen, I'm going to be honest. I'm breaking the fourth wall. Britt Baker has carried me since day one since I joined this company. And that's respect. That's fucking respect. And that's why I love it.
And that's I want to put this out to note. And Doc and CJ will agree with this because we've known Britt for a long time professionally, and some of us personally. CJ probably more than the rest of us. Britt is that damn good, and people on the internet's been pissing me off. She's just there because she's Adam Cole's girl. No, she's
nothing to do with it.
She can get over.
He was the first person fucking signed to AEW. Yeah, so all of you people, I'll heal myself out. Have you ever seen the show Succession? If you haven't, watch it. But go on, fuck off.
You guys are like people who think and. Listen, Saraya coming back.
Saraya.
Whatever. Who gives a shit? Saraya coming back. She does. I know she does. That's why
I called Blase and
I know on the podcast I was on.
That's right.
Can I help you with this one? Mrs. Radke, go ahead.
First of all, that's a phenomenal theme song. I love following.
I love it too.
So Ronnie Radke's a douchebag, but the best kind of douchebag is a talented one. So
I love that.
Quote of the night.
I love that.
Having her back in wrestling and having her feel comfortable wrestling is phenomenal. And it's a good thing, even if this is just going to be for a few matches so she ends her career on her terms.
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either. The point of the matter is this was also a great way for Britt. Saraya, I can still wrestle in this company. She's going to take a little bit of time to get ring rust off. Fine, whatever. Former WWE, I don't give a shit about that part. Britt Baker was the homegrown talent who helped Saraya get through that match safely, which we all care about. And
Absolutely.
it wasn't an awful match. There was rust.
It wasn't. No, not at all.
There was rust. It was a good coming back after however many years dealing with those neck issues.
5 or 6, I think.
5 or 6, something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good on both of them for doing business. Good on Britt for showing. And good on Britt for showing, hey, I'm the stalwart of this company. If you are a female competitor and you're in a match with me, I got you.
That's a great message.
We're going home at the end of the night.
Britt gets over, win or lose. Britt gets over, belt or no belt.
Exactly.
You're going to see this match again, and I promise you,
it'll be a lot
5-6 months from now, you're going to be saying how fucking amazing it was. And there was nothing wrong with this match at all.
What about this one, CJ? Keep it going. The king of TV now, the TNT and the ROH TV champ, Samoa Joe. We all agreed there was no bad outcome to this, no matter who won last week. And we talked about this. You're either getting Hobbs his big win, Wardlow continues his push, or Joe gets both belts. There's no lose to me.
I mean, I'm a Wardlow guy. This wasn't my favorite match per se, but there was nothing really wrong with it. I mean, 3 meaty men slapping meat. I mean, how can you go wrong there?
Yeah, it was. Ray and CJ, you guys picked Samoa Joe to win, and that's what we got. Doc, how'd you like this fight?
I enjoyed it. I thought that Samoa Joe and Wardlow are going. Yeah, they set up a great feud. I feel bad that like Hobbs got kind of left out of it because I think Hobbs deserves more than. I really wish Wardlow and Samoa Joe would have probably pulled the the Godzilla Kong thing and just quit paying attention to him like he was Gildra.
Yeah,
I really wish we would have went there because I think Hobbs would have been a great champion. I think Hobbs would have really made that sneakiness but then again, you reverse the roles. Hobbs was beat. I mean, Wardlow had him beat, and it just showed that, Joe's always going to be that one that slips past you. He's not only just mean, angry, cunning, he has that mind, and he knew what to do. So,
and anything can happen on a triple threat too. And after this, talking about what happened last night, Wardlow does a little promo where he even knocks down. He's like, stupid, like they called us War Joe. He couldn't even stand the name himself. Like a lot of people did. Yeah. But then after, Samoa Joe cuts his promo, then Wardlow gets the promo. Then they're like, all right, let's show a vignette on the guy that these guys beat, Hobbs, afterwards. I was like, well, they could have put Hobbs promo somewhere else.
Let me jump in real quick if you guys don't mind. I would correlate these video packages that they're showing for Hobbs. I would kind of, maybe not entirely, but how people a couple weeks ago were saying Austin Theory's done. You're fucking wrong, and you're wrong about Hobbs. Adversity. This is going to continue to build him up.
Yeah,
it's your classic example of you have to break someone down to build them back up. Yeah. Hobbs ate it. He was the third wheel in the triple threat match because the focus was going to be on Wardlow and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is the veteran. Dusty finish. It was questionable. He didn't win it clean. Everyone was protected. It was a good meaty match. Yeah. Like nothing wrong with it. Wardlow winning the title hurts my feelings as a Wardlow guy.
We get Joe and Wardlow one-on-one now too, so I'm looking forward to that.
And that's going to be good.
His photo with Wardlow with the belt, so we're fine.
Well, we got heel Samoa Joe now full as promo said.
He is
the king of TV right now.
Heel Samoa Joe is best Samoa Joe.
And I agree.
I liked when we met Hobbs. Hobbs likes to keep character too, which is really cool, but he still interacts with the fans. I loved how he did it. He was one of the guys at the All Out Fan Fest that actually took without having to pay like out the wazoo for. Yeah. And what was really cool about Hobbs was, Bodie just got done meeting Starks, right? He's on his high horse, and he goes over and he looks. He goes, "Hey, Hobbs, what are you gonna do on Sunday?" And Hobbs looked at him and just smiled, looked at me, looked back at him, and just went, "I'm gonna beat Ricky Starks' ass. That's what I'm gonna do. Now let's take his picture." Loved it. Kept the character, but he still kind of welcomed Bodie in, which I thought was really cool. He did it. So I don't know. I love Hobbs for what he does.
Like I said, there's no loser. All three are great competitors. We got a new TNT champion now, as well as the ROH champion, Samoa Joe. Big shout out to Lady Devil in the house. Everybody, make sure you guys hit those thumbs up. This is our first show alone exclusively on this channel, so please share it out and hit those thumbs up. We want to get as much reactions that we can for this show.
There are very few people who look good with two belts as good as Samoa Joe looks with two belts too.
He's definitely cool. Joey two belts.
Becky.
Okay,
As much
I'm
as I
not
don't
gonna
like those,
disagree with you there.
I don't
I'm
like
not
all
gonna
those.
Disagree with that.
I remember. So when Samoa Joe was carrying the TNA tag team titles by himself,
That was hilarious.
It was during the. It was
Someone who
fun
could.
times. Anyway,
Real quick, Darby and Sting, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Doc?
I enjoyed it. I love the fact that they got the showcase. I love the fact that the crowd kind of really turned on them. It was like TNA sucks. They were doing everything in their power to try to and just get under Jarrett's skin. And Jarrett, he took the pin, and I really liked how they went with this, man. So I'm wondering what's next for Jarrett. Who does we throw Jarrett next?
The right guy. I don't think you have to throw Jarrett with anyone. Send him to the back.
There's another tag match announced.
Yeah, him and Jarrett.
Is it against private? Is it Private Party?
I think it is.
It's interesting to see that. It's interesting to see AEW pull like these certain pieces of WCW and TNA out, and kind of forget that they didn't work when they were live. So they're like trying to rehash them. Yeah. I like Jeff Jarrett's fine. Sting is still going, and I just wish him not to turn into a pile of dust every time he wrestles. Darby got the pin on Jarrett. That's probably the right result.
Yeah, you save Lethal.
That saves Lethal. That gives rub to Darby, who you want to keep shooting to the moon. Otherwise, I can't look at Jarrett and not think, man, you really like. I just picture Jarrett throwing like tortillas in a AAA event, like it is drunk off his tits. Like,
see, I love Jarrett. I think Jarrett's one of the best heels of his, and one of the best. I hate to say it, politicers backstage.
Yeah, name me another person that has done what he's done this year, right? Doc?
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean, look, WWE, AEW, he's been everywhere. I mean,
it's him. And like Katie Arquette that have been like in Cole Carter, like there's very few people this year who have been across all three platforms, and good for them.
Yeah, it's great.
Jarrett is again. I have some problems with Jarrett just from other things, but nothing wrong with the match itself. So
I'm a big Sting fan, but please, he doesn't have to do any more balcony spots.
I really worry about that.
I'll say it once. I'll say it again. Jeff Jarrett stole the show at Ric Flair's last match.
Yeah, he did. And
stole
he will
the
continue
fucking
to do
show.
It. He will continue to do it.
Yeah.
What stole the show for me was definitely one. It was Jamie Hayter getting her shine. She was great in the scrum afterwards, talking about it. Really, it's one of those where we talk about it a lot. Like, man, I really wish this person would get their shine, and it never happens. I'm really glad to see they finally pulled the trigger. Finally, take the interim away from Tony Storm's reign as well as Jamie Hayter's too. I think, I don't know, unless they decided it late, why not announce that before this fight?
Because they didn't decide it until afterwards.
That's the only conclusion I can draw to.
Well, no, that is the conclusion. I promise you.
It was an 11th hour decision. Yeah, they finally came to an agreement.
They should have decided.
It had been talked about prior to, but there wasn't a final decision made until they were finding out.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
both of these women are now counted as just the AEW Women's Champion, right?
Correct.
Not just Jamie. Okay, cool. I wanted to check. I didn't know that part, and
correct.
That's why I'm
good.
saying,
and they both deserve it.
If they would have named it, if they would have decided that before, then there wouldn't have been as much confusion on whether Tony's is a interim or not. But
I get it, but I don't like interim anything.
I'm from the old days. If you don't defend it in 30 days, you lose it. That's old school where I'm at.
That's
Shawn Michaels got beat up in a bar and had to hand over the IC belt right to Dean Douglas.
Take it off of Thunder Rosa, and whenever she comes back, she gets a shot.
Yeah, I love Thunder Rosa, but no.
Just because it works in MMA, doesn't mean it needs to be in wrestling. The interim title is one of those things. Just leave it in UFC. It doesn't need to be here. That being said,
Tony Khan even said that's why he does it.
Yeah, no, I know.
So you're right.
You're devaluing your own company by doing that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It shows that you can have multiple champions.
Yeah.
In any case, Jamie winning's the right time to do it. She is instantly now in a dissension situation with Britt. And they didn't even need to use words to already start alluding to it. It was looks. It was the promo at Dynamite. They already have started doing it. They don't need to outright say, oh, look, Britt's taking the spotlight. We all know this. We're watching. We see it. So they already have a tailor-made feud to break down that. Jamie, I would argue she should have won it previously.
Sooner? I agree.
Yes. But Jamie wins it. The result still gets there. Tony doesn't lose anything from losing. She was a good transitional, even in that situation.
Yeah, and I don't even like her being a transitional, but yeah.
And Britt selling it so great already, like hyping Jamie up, like I'm behind her, this is my girl, setting up for that eventual.
But so here's the thing that it reminded me of, and I know Doc will know what I'm talking about, and CJ will know. I'm sure everyone here will know this. World War III, when Macho won the title, and Giant pulled Hulk Hogan out from under the ring, and Hulk Hogan was complaining. Then the next pay-per-view, Macho wins the title clean. Hulk Hogan's jumping up and down with the title, and Macho cuts his promo. You're celebrating like you won it. I won it. And it instantly led to this feud. Now, the result was bad because Hulk was creative controlling, but it reminded me a lot of that. Gotcha. This person who's jumping up and down and celebrating. At some point, Jamie's going to go, I did this, not you. Rick can go, well, you did it because I'm here. Like, let's be real. You're only champion because I'm allowing you to be champion. Yeah. Now we have a feud.
And Jamie goes full on babyface.
It's very interesting. I can't wait to see where it goes. And I kind of agree with your sentiments as well. Our new champ now, Jamie Hayter, and where it goes from here, there's a bunch of different ways. I think it's great. Acclaimed and Swerve in Our Glory. We all, I think, said that, they're going to retain no Ray back, so he picked Swerve and Keith. And before we get to the main event, there is now tag team champions in our picker, Doc and your boy Blake.
And still.
So, you're still.
You're tag team champions.
We both had 8. Ray and CJ had 7, so it was very close. We had 8 right out of 10, and they had 7.
By the way, he has a soccer team doing that now.
Oh, geez.
None of the parents like
real quick for lack of time. We're already at our time, so if we can.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving along.
Because I know we got to talk about this.
Great match.
It was awesome.
I liked Keith Lee walking out.
Yes. Big deal. Next.
I love Swerve as a heel. So.
All right.
MJF world champ.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say?
There's nothing
phenomenal.
else to say.
Can we lump this in, him winning the I know you have another slide here. You can do this, but I want to talk about what happened at Dynamite in correlation with him winning the title.
Well, I have that slide coming up too.
Okay,
cool. Beautiful.
Before we get to that, who is the best AEW world champion? In your opinion?
John Moxley.
You guys have a tattoo.
So far?
Out of these 6 who have been champ, who's the best? I mean, I think it might end up being MJF by the end of it, but
yeah, it'll end up being MJF.
As much as it pains me, Moxley.
Moxley?
Yeah, as much as it pains me. I love Jericho too, but I think Moxley has just carried the torch, and he shows what you have to do when your company is pretty much on its back. He gave up his vacation and did what he had to do to keep AEW on the map, and I'll say that every day. Moxley is a main staple of that company, no matter what.
It's gotta be Moxley.
He still doesn't get to go on vacation because of Hangman last night. For fuck's sake.
Well, I think that's propelling him to vacation. I think they just that's it.
I saw this picture and I thought it was a very nice. All right, so consensus there.
And for sure.
Understood, because the guy busted his ass. This was big to me because I've been a big Take a Shit fan for a while. Takeshita is one of my favorite new faces of this year, and to see them finally rein him back in after he left and sign him, I just love the way he works. Love his look. I think he's going to be a big star. And I just
agreed.
I had to mention AR Fox also got signed. He's all elite from yesterday as well. But let's talk about Preston Vance taking the mask off and leaving the Dark Order. Doc, I want to go you first. I know you're a big Dark Order fan. What do you think about this?
I saw it coming, but I didn't want to believe it. So we'll just keep it at that.
Yeah. CJ, do you have any thoughts on having a different?
I like it. The kid's got a great look. He's very decent in the ring. And I think the mask, although I get it, hinders you being able to see his progression and how he sells with his face and all these other aspects of his character building. So it's going to be interesting.
So Tony, but your final thought, is the Dark Order going to dissolve now because of this?
I don't think the Dark Order will ever dissolve in the true sense in AEW.
Gotcha.
It means too much to AEW.
Brody King.
You know, Brody Lee. Brody Lee.
Oh, I'm gonna fuck you up, bro.
I knew I could CJ mad.
You fucking. I mean,
Daniel Bryan
like
and Brody King. You know, they're a great tag team.
Brody
Fuck
Lee.
off.
Blaze, take yourself out of this now.
Right. Fuck, man.
Take yourself. There you go. So, Brody Lee means too much. Dark Order means too much. They're way too important to AEW. I think they should be sort of like that. They're always there.
You guys run the table at RWA and 2PW. This is my fucking table, son.
Well, then get your names right, dumbass.
I do it to piss off CJ. I'm waiting for one of these. I'm gonna let you guys talk about the match and not let CJ, so he can say, "What am I, piece of shit?"
I mean, you already skipped me on a couple
matches because I don't want you bitching about us going over an hour.
I do want to say, I will say this. Everyone always says like, "Oh, who knew this much personality was under the mask the entire time?" How many examples do we need in pro wrestling of people taking the mask off and turning out to be $1 million?
I mean, have you watched him on BTE with the mask still on? He's
still
fucking
on.
hilarious.
This dude had personality. Oh, he had all this personality under the mask. Oh, I can't believe Generico was hiding. But shut the fuck up. You guys don't understand that the mask actually makes you a better wrestler because it makes you have to sell 10 times more.
Yeah, let's talk about some jewelry. MJF has had that diamond ring 3 times. He's now the champ. So who gets the diamond ring next time around here? Doc, do you have a favorite? Who'd you say, Tony?
Jack Perry.
Harry? Who'd you say, Doc?
I was going to say Jack Perry too.
You're allowed to.
I thought either I had a toss up between Jack Perry and actually Ethan Page. I really like to see Starks do it because then MJF has so much on his shoulders, knowing the fact that he could lose the title and the ring at the same time.
True.
Which would make a really phenomenal story, I think. But I really think it's Jack Perry's time.
I think Starks would fit because he likes to wear the little bling and the nice fancy shirts instead to have a diamond ring with him. It would work well. Jungle Boy too. I'd like to see that. I don't care. CJ, did you answer? I don't care if you did or not. I don't really care.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be Jack Perry and go fuck yourself.
Revolution coming up March 5th. The next pay-per-view. Fight Forever coming soon, man. I'm starting to get hyped about it.
When? I've been waiting on this worse than Veer.
As soon as Veer debuts on Raw, you'll get Fight Forever.
Winter's going to come first, and you got to wipe that off, and then this is coming.
Listen, I'm still waiting for Hayden Vanson to show up on SmackDown and face The Undertaker. So, like, we're all waiting for that.
One more show we know when it's happening, and it is this Saturday. CJ, tell us a little bit about this one going down.
This is the Pittsburgh Pro Wrestling Classic. And there's been a lot of turmoil between Jock Sampson and management, how he's been calling out Justin Plummer for playing favorites with guys like Cole Carter and not giving other talent the opportunity to shine on the big stage. And I mean, I'm going to, drop the curtain a little bit, but Elijah Dean and Bill Collier, how this story has progressed is some of the best shit that I've seen out of any wrestling promotion in the entire world, including WWE, including AEW. Elijah Dean is a fucking genius when it comes to promoting himself, the matches and stuff that he's involved in, and both of these guys are fucking should be signed. I've said it before and I'll say it until I die. Both of these guys you should be watching on TV every fucking week.
And to those in the chat who may not know, we do talk about some of the local wrestling companies around here very frequently on the show with our local focus. And we've talked about Bill Collier. He was on AEW. Cole Carter still is on AEW. Spencer Slade was on before as well. So some of these names, they have been.
Katie Arquette.
And
Elijah Dean's been on AEW.
And rightfully so. This is a hotbed for professional wrestling. And any other Doc, do you have any other thoughts about anything about this card you see here? Anything?
It's just going to be a phenomenal card. Like I said, Dean and Collier, CJ summed it up the best. They have such an ongoing feud that people online are so invested. And that's the thing about pro wrestling. You have to be invested. And there are so many people invested in Dean and Collier with this feud. The same thing with Carter and Samson. Just the work that all four of these men are doing for their matches, putting out the promo stuff. Cole Carter, not only with AEW, he's also putting out promos about Josh Sampson. He's still commenting on the Josh Sampson thing. So, like I said, right now, these men and women, because everybody, like I said, when it comes to IWC, this locker room, I mean, the promos that they do and everything that they're doing on social media is working. Yeah, and I wish I wish other promotions would follow suit with that, because if you see this. If you see how the money that they're making, guess what? Other promotions could make that money too.
And I love this old school style poster.
Yeah, me too. That's why I grabbed this one instead of the one with the pictures and everything.
I got to refocus one thing though. Walter, Blaze is doing ring announcing. He's not commentating. He's not at the big boy stable yet.
Yeah, I know what you meant. But I mean, big shout out, and I'm just getting used to these names, used to these people around this area, and big shout out to those that are in more than one company. I mean, I see Gory on there, Cole Carter, Xander Gabriel, Lebanon Dawn, Brotherly Love, names that I see in other companies as well. Big shout out to these guys not only work in one company, but busting their ass as many places as they can to get noticed.
Brotherly Love, another team that really puts a lot out on social media and just gets them over by they sell themselves. It's amazing.
I will say, so Doc and I, anyone, I'll drop the current a little bit, just a tad. Doc and I don't work for IWC, but we work with a lot of these guys in other companies. These guys are like, this is probably one of the best cards I've seen in a while come out of Pittsburgh area wrestling, to the point where I'm actually, if I don't go to the show, I will be tuning in on Fight TV.
Yeah, it is on Fight TV, people. So
Fight Plus, I believe.
Yeah, Fight Plus. So if you have a free time Saturday, you're not in the Pittsburgh area. If you are in the Pittsburgh area, you should go see this show. You're welcome, Justin. And if you are not in the area,
I love it.
And if you're not in the area, tune in on Fight Plus, because it's a very good show. Elijah Dean has been a phenomenal champion. He is a phenomenal wrestler. Bill Collier is a juggernaut. Like, my God, this guy's talented. The tag team match is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about that match. And there's so much more we could talk about this show.
I know. There's too much. Like, I can say good things about everybody.
I've said enough without being paid.
TME or other guys that should be signed somewhere.
The fact that TME is still not signed by any company pisses me off. Like, this card, I can count. I'm just gonna look quickly. 5 people that should be signed to a national television deal right now, and are not. And
could be.
This is now going out to whoever agates this over in Sanford or Jacksonville, and agates this because we're talking wrestling. They take all our shit and steal some of our lines. I know you guys do, and I know you're
from
listening.
The side.
So you steal from the side and think I won't know this. I see you, okay? Whatever, guys. Excalibur, you specifically. You guys should be looking at some of the talent in Pittsburgh, because while you guys have grabbed our Wardlows and our Lees and our Coles, there's about 8 or 9 people out there, men and women.
It's not more than that.
It's a lot more than that. I'm pretty sure.
It's only a matter of time before we see more local talent on the big stage, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Let's hop right into Survivor Series and War Games. There was only a couple matches here, so we'll breeze through the end of this.
But have a lot to go. Yeah,
I'm very sad because there wasn't an original Survivor Series elimination match. But I just wanted to reminisce.
Yeah.
Here's I get the War Games connection, but I really miss. And hopefully next year, it's not always War Games. Like, bring back some traditional teams and stuff. These are the guys that have made the most appearances on the past Survivor Series, some of the biggest names. And we got to talk about Randy Orton real quick, which it does not look good for him coming back.
Let him come back and be a coach or something.
Yeah.
I
mean, for the types of surgery and the words that I'm hearing, and I hope it can change. Hopefully he can still do a couple matches here and there, but that sucks for someone who I don't know, he could have a couple years left of nonstop fighting, but after an injury like that, it's really tough. So
we lost. I think it's when it's all said and done, we've lost a couple really good years of Randy Orton before, early in his career, with his shoulder separation, and then a couple injuries here and there. first ballot Hall of Famer in my mind. That man has been the consistent GOAT. When Cena wasn't around, he helped carry that shit. And him and Cena, I know everyone memes on them having like matches. That was because they were the best. So
yeah. Same thing with Soul Survivors. We didn't have a Soul Survivor because they were teams. But once again, Randy Orton back up on there. I didn't know Ultimate Warrior was 3 times Soul Survivor, but same with Dolph.
That's not surprising.
No,
twice
Dolph.
Dolph
Roman
is kind of surprising.
Yeah.
No, because Dolph had that great. Was it the versus the Nexus, Team Cena versus the Nexus?
Oh yeah, where he was like one on like 4.
One on like 4, and he fucking went the goal, and yeah.
Who's Frosty's? You're
Frosty. Frosty's getting on CJ's nerve. That's Frostbite, Paul, my friend Paul.
Oh man.
Like we always say.
No, everything.
Your WrestleSense is your opinion, and you're always right. That's how you feel.
Blaze,
I don't got to agree with it.
Blaze, let Tony do his art. Tony, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Frosty,
which one do you mean?
hi, nice to meet you. It's a great time to meet you. Okay.
I'll give you each one. I'll give you each one, Tony. Go ahead.
All right. War Games was too long. Austin Theory doesn't suck, and Sheamus is having the best fucking year of his career.
Sheamus is the best wrestler right now in telling stories in the WWE. That man has had. It's not a meme. It's not a fucking gimmick. Banger
it's fact.
He is carrying. He has elevated Butch. He has elevated Ridge Holland to the point where they are now players in this game. Austin Theory got brought down because he was brought down by Vince McMahon and his shitty booking and all that bullshit. Now he's back up and he looks even more deadly than possible. And if you would have watched him when he was in Evolve, you would realize this guy was a 5-tool player from the jump.
Thank you.
All right, one more.
War Games. I'm gonna fuck this guy up.
Are you egging this guy on to do this shit, bro?
Seriously.
Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
I know everybody's entitled to your opinion, but guess what, bud? Your opinion's fucking wrong.
Yes, seriously. Drink a Clorox shake.
Doc has never been this much wrong in his entire life, and I make fun of him incessantly. What do you think I'm going to do to you, Frosty? Fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
All right, War Games. We started War Games. Tony versus
hold on,
Frosty.
one more thing. No wonder your name's Frosty. You're probably named after the EA Frostbite engine, which sucks asses, ruined video games. Fuck you.
He's a really good dude.
No, he probably is. We gotta have some fun, though. I mean, this isn't anything personal. You're just wrong. No. You're just fucking wrong.
Thanks for watching the show, by the way.
Real quick, women's
we appreciate all the support.
Doc, take us back to the show. War Games, Women's Survivor Series match.
I enjoyed it. I love the brutality of it, and I thought the way to take Rhea out of the equation was I loved how they did it with the mist, and I loved the Becky returned. Becky got the big pin. Becky about broke her ass. It was an awesome match.
CJ,
was it Dakota Kai that got folded like a lawn chair into?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, that looked really weird. I could really hammer this match, but I'm not going to.
You know my favorite part of this match? Because I like whenever wrestling matches tell a fucking story and make sense. My favorite part of this match was fucking Nikki Cross handcuffing fucking Alexa Bliss to her and saying one simple fucking line. Don't think I forgot her. I remember.
Yeah.
Those are the things that fucking get me off about wrestling.
I liked
it too. Way.
And Nikki Cross, I like the crazier Nikki Cross, but I mean, if I'm going to flip the coin, in a War Games, you don't just stick to the cage and sit there and do nothing. You keep fighting. That's just I mean, she did a bunch of that just lingering around bullshit where, Nikki, keep fighting. Keep going crazy. I want to see Sanity, Nikki, and just keep destroying people because it's entertaining. Yeah. It was good. I want to say it was great, but here's your winners. And is it just me, or does Alexa feel like she doesn't belong?
I think there's a story being told.
They show the Bray logo behind her every time. She's never really happy with the rest of them.
And how she was kind of all out of it, I believe, on Monday when they were doing a promo in the back. And she's like, oh, yeah, Becky was the right call.
Yeah. So I think something's going to come of that, too. It just,
But that's
That's
a good way to go about it. Like, if you're going to be telling multiple stories at once in a War Games, and Alexa doesn't have a real story in the War Games match, you tell this she's aloof, something's bothering her, something's itching in her brain. That itch involves a moth, and
I just don't
she
want
might
her
be
to
a little
go
bit
back.
shattered. She might be a little bit shattered at the end.
I love it.
Revisiting that part of the story, I'm not against. I just don't want her to go full blown like she was last time with the Fiend.
I don't think they're going to go that insane. I don't think they're going to go full Firefly.
She shouldn't, because Bray's not being like that anymore.
No, but until we see the other side of him, which I think we will.
I mean, you may not see another side.
This should have been the elimination match, in my opinion. They did the 8-person mixed tag on Monday or whatever. Yeah. Even mixing in Rhea and Mia Yim a little bit, or Michin, whatever you want to call her. This should have been an elimination match to me, even though AJ and Finn, 2 my all-time favorites, and I watch them fight one-on-one any day.
Oh, me too.
So I'm going to say something that's extremely controversial. I don't care for Survivor Series matches. I think in the history of Survivor Series matches, they've sucked. I think that they're very hard to put together unless you have an inherent storyline built in. This is an example of where it would have worked.
Yes.
But the 2 elements work better if it's in a situation where it's full brawl. The problem is Finn and AJ have such a built-in story from Japan and the Bullet Club and all that stuff. You don't really need anything outside them. I honestly would have loved them to be in a cage by themselves and not have any outside stuff, because it makes more sense if you're going to have like a war, like in a Survivor Series War Games. Okay, you both are in the War Games cage. It's a 2-match match, but no one else is allowed in. You guys work this shit out on your own. So I don't need an elimination match. I don't like Survivor Series matches to begin with. I'm fine with it flipping the War Games. That being said, there hasn't been many great War Games matches since the 80s. But
to me, it's not War Games unless there's a lid on it. That's my I know why they do it for the spots and shit.
I'm gonna have to agree with Blaze on that.
Yeah, unless you put a lid on that, it's not War Games to me. It's just a double cage.
That's fine. I understand that point.
But they used. I mean, we'll get to the War Games. Doc, AJ, and Finn.
Loved it. I thought that they had a phenomenal match, both of them, one-on-one whenever, I mean, I get it, you're going to have your crews fighting each other, but I thought it told a great story. You had 2 people, and at the end, with the whole, pointing at him as he was laying there looking up at him. I thought that was a phenomenal way to kind of put, a little bit of a knife in this feud, but obviously, according to Monday Night Raw, this feud is not over yet.
I think I got a picture of that here coming up, too, to enhance that as we can continue to talk here in a little bit, but
moving on, please.
Real quick.
Moving on, but first I must say
Shotzi
Shotzi did what she could with what she was. And Tony, we were kind of talking about this obviously earlier. Yeah. If you need a certain dance partner to be good, you're not fucking good. Rhonda, go to NXT or whatever. I get you're like a big superstar, and I'm not saying anything bad on her, but she
sucks on the fucking mic. She's boring in the ring. She sucks on the mic. And if he wasn't with the bloodline, I'd put fucking Paul Heyman with her, and she would never hardly ever talk.
I've seen Shotzi have phenomenal matches with Atticus Cogger. I've seen her have great matches with other people. And if Ronda Rousey can't have a good match with Shotzi, what's the eliminator here? It's Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with you guys, but to me, it does make Shotzi not look as good as she should in a title fight when she has to carry the champ,
which is insulting. And I hope that the back
that's not Shotzi's fault. That's not Shotzi's fault.
I hope that the people in the back that make decisions don't hold this on Shotzi. Honest to God,
I don't think they do.
No,
I hope so. But we've all been in locker rooms where the wrong person got shit on for a bad match.
Yeah. To me, that was just high school gym class. Doc, U.S. title match goes to Theory, gets the belt, and he's your new champ. What's your thoughts on it?
I liked it because he made up for his, I don't want to say sins. He made up for his his big mistake of trying to cash in, but it just made him more violent. It made him more, he's not a joke anymore. You don't see the cell phone anymore. You see a more focused, hungry, young Theory that we saw in Evolve. So I like it. I like how it propelled him into that.
Yeah.
CJ, any thoughts on this one?
I loved this match. I loved the finish, and I'm probably on record as saying when everyone was shitting all over Theory, I'm like, you mark my word, this is just a stepping stone for him to come greater than he already was.
And I think most people weren't really shitting on him. They were just shitting on what they made him do, in my opinion, which kind of sucks. So let's talk about the Bloodline versus, and I was hoping they didn't just throw a bunch of other faces together to face them. They kind of tied it together. I love the Kevin Owens story with Sammy in this. It's brilliant. This is telling stories throughout the whole fucking match. And I was entertained by it. It was brutal. You had the weapons in the women's match as well as this. So I dug that. It didn't keep them from throwing weapons in the ring and using that. To me, if you want to make war games like a war games and you're not putting a top on it, fucking string weapons up all around the whole thing. Was that TNA one, Monsters Ball or something where they did that?
Yeah. TNA did, so did ECW when they did WWE version of ECW. It was called December to Dismember.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about December to Dismember. TNA did that better than WWE ECW.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
just
to
go ahead, Tony.
Talk on this. This is now your storyline right there. That photo you just put there, that is your storyline all the way to Mania. You now have your entire main event blocked out from Mania, and it might not involve Sammy, but the dismantling of the Bloodline will ride you to Mania.
I'm going to throw a curveball. I'd say that I could see it maybe not involving Solo.
It'd be interesting to not see it involve Solo, but I know this is why I think Sammy is pound for pound the greatest wrestler in the world right now. He is not only immensely gifted, he tells amazing stories, and the moment where he was talking to Roman, and Roman gave him the nod, hits off the turnbuckle, haluva kick, catches Kevin Owens and Sammy, because they've been doing this song and dance for 20 years.
Yeah,
know exactly how to sell this moment. It's a moment, and it stopped time. Him falling into the arms. And how many times have we seen Kevin betray, quote unquote, Sammy?
Yep.
Now we have an argument, even though I wouldn't say this is Sammy really betraying Kevin.
I agree with you.
But how many times has Kevin betrayed Sammy, and Sammy for the first time has turned his back on Kevin, said, this is my new family. Now we watch the roll down the hill.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of the, Sammy's going to end up with Kevin and they're going to take the belts off the Usos. Fuck that. He should take the belt off of Roman, in my opinion. I have no problem with it.
I am not opposed to that.
I don't have a problem with that, but
he should take it off of Roman, which would lead to Roman and Rock or something. I don't know. Because that match doesn't need a title belt. No,
but they're gonna want to give it the title anyway. That's just how WWE. Well, you know what? I said that. That's how
the old WWE.
Yeah,
that's how Vince operates.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful now. Doc, the Bloodline versus the Brutes.
Perfect storytelling.
Yeah, it was
bottom
good.
line. That's all I can say about it. Everybody else pretty much answered every single thing I could say. It's just a simple
right. I mean,
Sami Zayn. I mean, if you want to say Sami Zayn stole the show, I'll say it. He stole the show, and I loved how he did it. He didn't steal the show by turning on the Bloodline. He stole the show by turning on his best friend of 27 years.
Yeah, it's
and the simple fact
it's compelling. It's very compelling to me. I want to see what they're going to do next. That's how I used to watch wrestling back in the 90s.
What's going to happen next?
You left Nitro going, I can't wait to see what happens next. In this story, I said it 6 months ago, whatever. I was bored with Roman. It was just because it was the same mafia leader Roman every week. This Sammy dynamic has taken this fucking shit to the moon, in my opinion, and I love it.
I agree.
And I can't wait to see where it goes next. Now we can talk about this little incident, and Doc was alluding to it earlier. Doc, do you like the bad Dominic?
Yes.
I'm still 50-50.
I like it. I like what they're doing because it's going to set up a Royal Rumble where you will see Rey Mysterio eliminate his son, setting up a match, Mysterio versus Mysterio, at WrestleMania. And by the way, by God, did Rhea look so hot there. Sorry.
I'm a Rhea fan without all the black makeup. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's great in the ring.
Just the way I don't know what it was about this. This
See,
outfit.
I'm from the goth world, the emo world. So Rhea is just right now. It's just like peak, like, oh god, like sit on me, like type deal.
She's pulling it off.
I love it. I love the honesty.
Happily married. Please sit on me, Rhea. So now, this all being said, first of all, Dominic needs to start being called Subanik, and and it works.
Dom the sub.
Dom the sub. It works for what it's going to be, which Doc is 100% right. This is booking 101. Is it being telegraphed? Sure. Who gives a shit? It's good stuff. Dom now has a character. The character is being manipulated by Rhea, who is, I would say, she's
the leader of the judge.
Yeah, she seems like the leader. She's the puppet master pulling the strings.
Yeah, she's absolutely. I think that would be a great, I think her taking the title off of Bianca eventually would be cool too. But let's see how this plays out. I thought the segment itself was trash, but the story behind the segment was good. So
we're not looking for award-winning acting in pro wrestling. I never really
Ray. You can see that you were putting on your mask to answer your door at your own house.
Right,
right.
You got to suspend your disbelief a little bit.
I know. Here's the problem: if Ray had never been demasked ever in his career, I would have been okay, fine. But buddy, you've been demasked before. We've seen it. Like it would have made more sense if he would have been like, "Hey, what's up?"
But to see something outside the arena, outside the show, a little story like old school, I enjoyed it. Like you said, it was kind of cheesy, a little cringy, but that's what it's. Speaking of cheesy and cringy, Reggie is Scripps.
This is what they gave him.
Doing this. He's the Scripps guy who's been sending all these weird messages each week.
Sean, my friend, my idol. Fuck.
So for the bad you got for Scripps and Reggie, who's still, he's Cirque du Soleil. He's legit
super athletic and talented. Yeah.
There's a place for him, but this really isn't it. On the other hand, I've been screaming for Dijak, and now we got him, and I love it. I think he's a beast.
Elon,
he always should have been.
Elon, let him change his Twitter handle finally.
Right. I seen something. What did he say? Like, do I got to pay the $8 or whatever?
But NXT's doing interesting stuff. I'm still interested to see how this Iron Survivor pans out. They picked some of the competitors. I think I don't know if I copied that picture here or not, but we'll be talking about that next week, I'm sure. I just had to have Cora Jade on here. I love this picture. I'm sorry. I'm just going to stare at this for a while. Let's just get rid of all three. Just me and you, Cora. How about it? What do you say? You can lay on me like that. You can splash shit all over me. I'm down. Sorry, I had a moment.
That was creepy.
You are such a fucking creep, and I love it.
I had a moment with me and Cora. Sorry.
While Blaze zips up, let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got one little thing left to do, and that's at the end. At the end of the day, honey, I'm sorry. I'm done. At the end of the day, CJ Sensation.
At the end of the day, this Saturday, come see IWC. Next Saturday, go see RWA. The following Saturday, go to 2PW. There's lots of good fucking wrestling outside of WWE, AEW. We'll be talking about it right here on this show too, so make sure you're fucking subscribed. These are the future stars of professional wrestling. Be supportive, and thank you guys for supporting us. This is technically our 1 year celebration, so kudos to all of you that hung with us, and things are just going to keep getting better and better, and life is great. That's all I got. I'm fucking out.
He's heating up.
Sorry, that was me for Cora real quick. Braun Breaker can't have her. I'm sorry. I have to challenge him to a game of checkers or something. Doc, at the end of the day.
the end of the day, just keep watching and loving pro wrestling, and go Falcons.
Our special guest tonight taking place for DH Bruiser, good old Tony Kincaid. At the end of the day, my friend, what do you have to say?
At the end of the day, MJF is worth every penny that he makes, and then some. I hope if William Regal's going to the WWE, he enjoys it. But if that's the last we're going to see of him on AEW, man, he definitely did the job there. So good
that
on
slide
him.
was supposed to make the first one. I think I deleted it by accident, but the actual slide with the Burberry belt and him knocking out William Regal, which I did want to touch on. We'll talk more about that next week for sure. Yeah. Because I would do the same thing with Punk. I would try my best to keep him if I could.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sound good.
Too. But, I mean, William Regal and Triple H are...
Yeah, there's so many signs pointing to, yes, he's gone.
Yeah.
And I was hoping for more. But at the end of the day, for me, on the 9th, I mean, we're going to SmackDown, baby. So we will have WrestleSense from Pittsburgh and SmackDown. And don't forget, your WrestleSense is your opinion on wrestling. People out there. We're just here to bring our opinion. Except
and Clinton, what did I lose? At the end of the day, I never fucking lose.
Like we always say, you can like who you want to like. You can hate who you want to hate. Cheer who you want to cheer. Boo who you want to boo. Watch what you want to watch. It's a great time to be a pro wrestling fan.
Absolutely.
For that, we'll say peace and positive vibes each and every one of you guys. Thank you for following this channel for 1 year and many to come. See you in my streams and see you from the side. We're fucking out of here. And fuck you, CJ, you pussy.
Wow.